to Young Engineers of Today. Hey, Matteo, how you doing? So we're going to continue with Fusion 360. To nobody's surprise. Good, I'm glad to hear it. We're going to get some more progress done on our bookshelves. But first there is going to be, hey Cohen, there's going to be a little bit of an update that we're going to do to our design. And the interesting thing is, well, actually the handy thing is we're going to utilize our user presets in order to be able to make progress on it. So let me go ahead and get that opened wherever it is. Where are you? 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 Why can't I find you right now? I'm blind. I'm flat out blind. There we go. There it is. So that'll take a minute to start up. We'll give it several. So the thing is, if we were to, I don't know, theoretically make this bookshelf in real life after designing it in Fusion 360, we would probably want to use a thickness, a ply, that is, that would correspond to the material that we would be using. What we have right now is a very odd ply. It's very odd. It's not like really, I mean, I think it corresponds to like, let me see here, 3125. It's like, it's not even, I'll have to take a look at it in a minute, but I think it's like 3/8 or something like that. It's irritating and not exactly in line with the thicknesses of wood that you would normally find. So what we're going to do is we're going to update it to be 1/4 inch, so a little bit thinner, but at the same time, it should be more sane. But we'll take a look at that once we get this opened. Which should happen, you know, eventually. Eventually. How's everybody doing, by the way? A good couple of days. I'm going to assume they were amazing, and I'm glad to hear that. Okay, there we go. Sheesh. Took a minute. I forgot that it had to do this as well. My computer's due for a restart anyway. I should do that soon. Keep in mind, it's good practice to like restart your computer like once a week. I don't do that, and my computer doesn't really go to sleep anymore, so it just stays on forever. I think it's been on for like a solid month at this point. In fact, I have a hunch, and let's actually not tempt fate while it's starting this up. Also, if we wanted to get into you know, good computer practices, it's also generally good to anyway, it's generally good to just basically do a clean install of your operating system on your computer. While we're on the subject of good computer practices that I don't generally follow, that's mostly just because I use my computer every day, and I'm not really wild about being out of commission for that long. It's especially because I do these classes with you guys, and if it means that my computer's out of commission for a day and I don't know what's available and what's not, that can complicate things. But anyway, it's not a bad idea to do. Okay, no updates due. Usually my Windows starts slowing down as well when there's an update for it. So let me go ahead and open up the bookshelf that we've been working on, and we're going to make that update. We're going to fix it. We're going to make sure that it's up to spec. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Modify and then Change Parameters. What we're actually going to do is we're going to update the ply parameter, because we want this to be something that is more traditional, more traditional size that you'll find at like the hardware store or something like that, right? So we'll change it to 0.25 inches. This is going to be a quarter of an inch. Now by doing this, we're actually not only going to update our ply, we're also going to update our blind tab and our blind pocket. You'll see those update as well. And on top of that, let me go ahead and hit enter and watch the 3D model in the background. Boop. All of the bits got thinner because it automatically updated all of our ply user presets when we changed that. So our bookcase now actually looks different. In addition, the sketches, the rectangles that we drew, those are going to be different as well. Pretty handy, right? So like you can see why doing something like that might actually be a good reason to use user presets for things that, you know, are going to be used frequently across your model. Because in case you get something like the ply wrong, just speaking hypothetically, you can update that in the user presets, and it's actually going to completely update your model with just one change, which is pretty useful. Now it looks like Autodesk Fusion actually downloaded a new update, which is part of the reason why it took so long to open up that time. Now up here you can see that there are axes tied to the model rotate viewer. So now we can very clearly tell which one's the Z, which one's the X, and which one is the Y axis, which is nice. I like that. Your thing looks completely wrong. Can you elaborate? Did it happen after you changed the ply or when you opened it? What changed when you changed the ply? Okay, what did you change ply to? Double check your ply value. Make sure it's 0.25 inches. So because changing ply in and of itself, like I can see if it's 25, that would definitely turn it into this weird block thing. But 0.25, specifically typing the 0.25, that comes out okay. So can you verify that it's 0.25 and not 25 inches? Okay, so it is. I would have to, unfortunately, I would have to take a look at it. We don't really have the time for that right now. So just return the ply back to what it was. You can do that with an undo. Just hit undo until you've got the bookcase looking back like sane. And then we'll continue with the, and it went back to normal. Right. Did the bookcase return to what it looked like before, which was more like a bookcase? Okay, good. So we'll continue with designing the bookcase as it is, and then we can maybe take a look at that after class and figure out what exactly was bugging out when you changed that. But for now, though, let's make some more progress on building this thing. So we got, let's see here, we got this far, obviously, as you all can tell by looking at your bookcase. We got two sidewalls on it, we got a top on it, but we want to get those shelves and that back in there. But we can't do that with the sketch oriented the way it is, because we can't extrude through already existing material, which complicates things, naturally. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a new sketch and basically just kind of draw over the old sketch. In essence. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see here. So sketch one is on this particular wall, right? It looks like it's the left wall. Yeah, it's the left wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under sketch and I'm going to create a new sketch, and it's going to ask me where I want to place it. I'm going to place it on the inside part of the left wall. So as you can see, I've got my sketch here on the outside part of the left wall. I'm going to click on the inside part of the left wall, and it's going to realign everything. And we're looking at stuff that doesn't really make any sense. But we're going to make sure that it makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the little light bulb next to bodies in order to hide all of them. So now we should just be looking at our two sketches, sketch one and sketch two. If I hide sketch one, it's gone, but I do want it there. So we're going to make sure that we unhide sketch one so that it's visible. So the only thing that should be visible right now are our two sketches. I'm actually going to hide the construction as well. You don't need to do it, but I'm going to do it. So now we got sketch one and sketch two visible and nothing else. So now what we're going to do is we're going to project. And this is going to be different from a regular copy and paste. So I'm going to go up to, what is it? Sketch, okay. Sketch, and then project/include, and then project. So as you can see, I mouse over it, I get this little tooltip that says projects the body, silhouette, edges, work geometries, and sketch curves into the active sketch plane. Use a selection filter to project specific type of, specific types of geometry, or project specific type of geometry or the body silhouette. So we're going to hit project. As you can see here, we've got geometry, select, and selection filters, either specified entities or bodies. We're going to keep it on specified entities. And we're basically just going to click a whole bunch of the lines in this, in sketch one. Let me see here. Let me figure out exactly which ones. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see this more easily. I'm going to hide the sketch palette window and put it underneath. I'm going to select the bottom part of the top rectangle, as you can see, not the top of the big rectangle. I'm going to select the two vertical rectangles on the side, these two in the middle, these two down here, these two on this vertical one. And that should be, yeah, that is all the ones that you want to select. So as you can see here, I've got the bottom line of the top rectangle. I've got the two lines that make up the vertical rectangle. I've got the two lines that make up the middle rectangle, the two lines that make up the bottom rectangle, and the two lines that make up the bottom vertical rectangle. So all in all, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines selected. Raise your hand once you've done that. All right. Most of the hands, not quite everybody, so I'll give it like another minute. All right, there we go. We got everybody. So I'm going to hit OK. And nothing's changed, except things have changed. Let me rotate my view. And as you can see, Sketch 2 now has these lines sort of hovering over Sketch 1. What we've essentially done is we've copy-pasted, except it's more useful than that, because if we update anything on Sketch 1, Sketch 2 will automatically update to mimic it. So it's more than a copy-paste. Think about like if you type something up and then you copy and you paste it into a new document. You're copying and pasting basically that bit of text as it exists at that point in time. And you continue working with your original text and you're like, oh wait, I want to change something about that part that I copy-pasted. So you'll update it or whatever. You'll have to copy and paste it again back into that second document in order to, update or reflect that update. Now imagine you did something like project here, where it's like a copy-paste, so you copy and paste that bit of text, except whenever you update the original text, the text that you then copied and pasted will automatically update to reflect that as well. So it's like a copy-paste, but it's more powerful and more versatile in that sense. And it's more useful for our purposes right now because in case we change anything, everything else will update in order to reflect that, which will be excellent. So cool, that's done. So now that we've actually updated our sketch, let me go ahead and hide Sketch 1, and I'll bring all of our bodies back. So just like before, by clicking the light bulbs, I'm going to bring the construction back as well, even though it's not, strictly speaking, necessary at this point. So we should see a bit of sketching projected onto the inside wall, or the inside of the left wall on our bookshelf. So once we've done that, let's go ahead and create the inside of our bookshelf. So I'll go to Create and then Extrude. And what we're going to do is we're going to project the back of the bookcase or extrude the back of the bookcase. So I'm going to click all of these vertical rectangles along the back end from top to bottom. You can see it's running all along the back of the bookcase. And we're going to do some things that are a little bit different. So before, where we did distance, we entered in a discrete value. Instead, we're going to change this a little bit. Under extent, we're going to change it to ToObject. And then we're going to select this object on the opposite side. It will automatically project it across the back. Now, hold the phone, we're not quite done yet. Under Operation, it's going to change to Join after you do that. You want to have it be New Body. It will update a little bit, and we can look at the back to see that, in fact, this is an entirely separate entity from either the side walls or the top, which is exactly what we want. Because remember, this bookcase is going to be built in different pieces. It's going to be kind of difficult if... Okay, yeah, let me go over it again. All right, so I'm going to go to Create and then Extrude. I'm going to select all of these back rectangles. And then instead of entering in a distance manually, so like forget this exists. We want the option that's under extent. I'm going to click on that. As you can see here, we've got distance, to object, and all. I want to object. So I'm going to click that. It's going to ask me where I want to project it to. Right here under object. See how it's selected right now? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it around and I'm going to select the opposite wall. And it's going to project it or extrude it over to that opposite wall, which is perfect. Except once we've done that, we have one more thing. Operation down here gets updated with this join. We don't want that. We want to change that to new body. And as you can see, everything sort of updates to reflect that. So now we've got an entirely new body along the back of the bookcase, which is excellent, which is exactly what we want. So once that's all done, I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see, we've got a new bit along the back, a separate body from the top or the side walls. You don't want to, hold on, let me do it one more time, because you don't want to actually type anything in there. Let me go to create and extrude, select all the back. Oops. See, we don't want anything in distance. We change extent to object, and then we click on the opposite wall, and it will automatically fill in the back for us. It will automatically extrude to this other wall for us. And then again, change it to new body, and it should automatically create that entire back end for us. This is for somebody else's benefit, Matteo. This is not. I know you've got it. So does that make sense to you? You got that? Tool body creation failed. You shouldn't be using a tool body. That's odd. Tool body creation failed. You're using the extrude tool, right? Why is it asking for a tool body? That's bizarre. Okay, well, this complicates things because we can't exactly continue without. Yeah, the chain faces thing, that should just be, you can just default that. You don't need to, you can try extending the faces instead to see if that ends up working out, but you shouldn't have to change that option at all. Under operation, you have new bodies. Oh, you have, okay, excellent. Cool. Perfect. All right. Yeah, sometimes it can be kind of finicky. So yeah, now we've got a back to the bookcase. And then we'll just do the same thing in order to get shelves and a kick plate. So let me go ahead and unhide sketch 2 again so it's visible. Go to create and extrude. And now I'm going to click on this middle one. And again, I'm going to make it 2 object. Select it to the other side. And I want to make sure that it's a new body. I'm going to hit OK. And now we have 1 shelf. Same deal down here. Create, extrude. This bottom one. 2 object, other side. New body. OK. And finally, down here, create, extrude. Little vertical rectangle because that's going to be our kick plate. 2 object, new body. OK. And now it's looking like a proper bookcase, huh? It's because that's what we modeled as a proper bookcase. Raise your hand once you've done all those things. Once you got your bookcase looking like this. All right, we got 1 hand up so far. Two hand. Another hand. Almost there. Give it a couple more minutes. All right, that's everybody. If you've done this, congratulations, you've modeled a bookcase. Now, if we were building this thing with like a hammer and nails or glue or something like that, we'd be more or less done. We can move on to the next step. However, we're going to do something a little bit different with this. This bookcase is actually going to be constructed with tabs. So there's a little bit more work to be done, but it should hopefully be, pretty useful information for you know, if you were working on something like this in the future. So yeah, we're gonna spend some time putting some tabs, modeling some tabs into this bookcase so that you would be able to construct it. It's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle. Oh, also we could do this too. This isn't strictly speaking necessary, but we can go to modify and then appearance. And let's see here, go to solid woods, unfinished woods, and do something like cherry and drag it on. And of course it doesn't want to cooperate. Let's try. Hello? Why won't you? It doesn't actually want to apply it. Odd. Normally you should just be able to click and drag. And, oh, let's try this. Yep, that's why. We'll do walnut. This is under modify and then appearance. Or pine. Let's do pine. Pine is nice and light colored. Pine and pine and pine. Oop, that's got to be pine in the back. Pine and pine and pine and pine and just one more time, pine. And now it actually looks like it's made out of wood, unfinished wood. Make it look like it's made out of particle board if we were so inclined, or MDF, or mahogany. Make sure you're selecting the an option from the wood category and not the wood solid, because the wood solid will not work, and it's kind of finicky about it too. Like you can't use glossy finished ash. Oh yeah. Oh, you actually have ash under yours. Oh, yours worked with the solid? Yeah, because it's not, ash does not work for me. Interestingly enough. I'm not going to do that in the middle of the class. Yeah, I mean, that's the plan, but yeah. But yeah, so you can apply basically a wood texture to it, which again is just a visual aid. It's not really something that's going to affect the end product one way or another, but it is something that's nice to have, so you can look at it and be like, yeah, this is what the end result could maybe potentially look like. But moving on, let's actually do some useful stuff. We're actually going to get it ready for assembly, like I said, because it's going to be kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. But it requires a few more things on the model that we need to add. We're going to start on this with the kickplate. And actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and rename everything. You can do that by just double-clicking on the text next to the body. As you can see, I've listed all the bodies here. If I mouse over it, it highlights it in blue, letting me know which body I'm looking at. So we're going to label this one top, because this is the top of the bookcase. Body 2 is the left wall, so this is going to be labeled left. Body 3 is the right wall, so this one's going to be labeled right. Body, what? Oh, body 5 is the back wall. So this is going to be labeled back. This one's going to be labeled top shelf. This one's going to be labeled bottom shelf. And this one's going to be labeled kick. Bam. And again, I just renamed them by double-clicking on the name of the body, just so I had something a little bit more useful to work with. Strictly speaking, though, not really necessary. However, what we are going to do right now, and what will be necessary, is we're going to hide all of the bodies by clicking on that. And, well, actually, that's not really going to help. So I'm going to click on all the light bulbs next to, you only have 5 of them. Did you accidentally join the separate bodies instead of creating a new one each time you extruded? Or, yeah, double check that. You want to make sure that these are all separate from one another, because otherwise it'll be a lot harder to manipulate them. We can cut them after the fact, but it'll honestly just be a lot easier to re-extrude. But yeah, so for everybody else, hide everything except for the kick plate. So now I got the kick plate down here. Hey, look at the kick plate. Hello. Boop, 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 boop. Kick plate. And what we're going to do is the same thing we've always done. Actually, we're going to create a new sketch and sketch some stuff onto it. So give everybody a moment. Double check and make sure you have a separate body for everything as well, for everybody else, just so we know we're all on the same page. If you do, raise your hand. If you don't, fix it so that you do, and raise your hand. Okay, well, we'll give you guys a couple of minutes to fix that up. How's everybody doing on re-extruding those so they're all separate bodies? Nah. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Let's go ahead. No, you don't have to. It's not necessary. It's just something that helps for visualization purposes, but it's really not necessary. So here is what we're going to do. I'm going to create a new sketch, and I'm going to create this sketch on the front of the kick plate. Now notice how there is you can set it to a plane, and that sort of overlaps the kick plate. Make sure not to select that one. You want the front of the kick plate, not the same plane as the kick plate. Wood. I don't know what type or anything like that, but yeah, presumably, yeah. Maybe pine. It's usually pretty easy. But yeah, so select the front of the kick plate. You want to make sure that it's that one, and it's going to realign so that we're looking at the front of the kick plate. Yes, you are going to create a new sketch. Once we've done that, we should be looking at the front of the kick plate. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of 2-point rectangles and just slap them onto the kick plate, one on the side and one on the top. Again, you don't have to worry about where. You don't have to worry about how big. You just want to make sure that you have 2 rectangles, one on the side and one on the top. That is ultimately what we're more concerned with. Do you remember how you created rectangles in the past on a sketch? Oh yeah, Mateo's got it. You would do the 2-point rectangle. So you can go down to sketch and rectangle and 2-point rectangle, and then, draw them, and then you'll have your 2 rectangles. So once we've gotten that, we're actually going to dimension these out a little bit. So we'll go to sketch dimension, bam, and let's dimension these individual bits. So I'm going to dimension the top part of this new rectangle that I drew, and I'm going to set it equal to ply. You want that to be ply because that is going to be the same as the thickness of the wood. Based on that, what do you think we're making? Just educated guess. Well, these are tabs that are going to be used to construct the bookcase with. But yeah, so next I wanted to mention, let's dimension this right here. So if I mouse over the leftmost line on this side rectangle and bring it out, we can actually use equations to represent dimensions as well. So what I'm going to make this is kick divided by, using a /3. And what that's going to do is it's going to resize it so it's 1/3 the height of this kick plate, so 1/3 of an inch. And I'm actually going to do that one more time. So what I'm going to use, I'm actually going to use, as if you see, when I mouse over where this rectangle intersects with the kick plates, there's a little white dot. If I mouse over where these 2 edges intersect on the kick plate, there's another white dot. So I'm going to measure from this white dot to, you can't, is it telling you it's going to be over-constrained, driven? There's something extra that is dimensioned on your Um, this is also going to be kick divided by 3, by the way. There is something extra dimensioned on your drawing that really shouldn't be. There is some extra constraint there. We'll have to take a look at it after class so that this can finally, once and for all, be, yeah. But you've got some extra constraint there that shouldn't exist. It seems to be what's been driving all the dimensioning woes that you've experienced since the beginning of this. We'll get it figured out though. But yeah, so the width of this side tab has been set to kick divided by 3. The length of this side tab has been set to ply, and the distance between the top of this side, or the top of the side tab and the top of the kick plate has been set to kick divided by 3. So now we've got a third of the kick plate height here, a third of the kick plate height here, and a third of the kick plate height here. This is one of our tabs. Next, and hopefully you'll be able to do this. So yeah, certainly, just one more time. This dimension right here is ply. This dimension right here, I have a nice bookshelf. This dimension right here is kick divided by 3. The distance between this and this is also kick divided by 3. Notice we don't have to do this last one because it's assumed that that is also going to be kick divided by 3. If you've dimensioned out 2 of the dimensions that, and it goes to, it's a third, it's assumed that the last third is that bit down there. Do they have to be centered? What do you mean, Cone? Nice, Mateo. They should automatically center themselves by virtue of the dimensions that we provided. If the tab is a third of the kick plate height, and we've placed it a third of the kick plate height down from the top, make sure you're dimensioning the correct things. I did where the tab will intersect with the kick plate and the top corner of the kick plate, and made that a third, kick divided by 3 specifically. And then I dimensioned this top line right here, made that kick divided by 3. And that should fill in the blanks and make it automatically centered on the side of the kick plate. We haven't done anything with this top tab yet, so that's just sort of doing whatever it does. Don't worry about that right now. But for this one, this should be more or less centered on the side. I mean, obviously, dividing 1 by 3 doesn't divide nicely as far as computers are concerned, but it should visually at least look like it's in the middle of the side. Okay, well, do you have this area dimensioned out up here, the distance between these two? What is it? Just read the FX to me. Okay. What about the width of that tab? What is that one? Okay. Um, if you were to basically sketch dimension and then just click on the side of the kick plate and bring out the cursor, you'll see a measurement that exists there. It'll just be sort of grayed out, hovering next to your cursor. Can you tell me what that one is? That's why. You did not dimension your kick plate to be kick in height. So why don't you go ahead and do that right now? Just um, dimension the side of the kick plate to be kick. And it should update and everything should look more centered. Hopefully it shouldn't intersect with the shelf, but okay. Is it giving you a reason, or is it just not allowing you to click? Okay, something else is dimensioned out, or it's intersecting with the other shelf and not happy about that. You might have to redimension the original sketch and then re-extrude. Basically undo to that point. It's annoying, I know, but that's um, at the very least you'll have to redimension the original sketch. Hopefully it will update all the extrusions, or I guess extrusions, the extruded areas to reflect that, but you'll definitely have to redimension sketch one and figure out, you know, maybe if there's an extra constraint there. That's going to do it for today, though. I want to, I guess, get started on figuring out these uncooperative models that you guys have. Figure out what's where those constraints are. So we'll do the poll questions, and then I can take a look at your guys' sketches and figure them out. But if you don't have any questions about anything and you feel pretty confident about your sketch, you're more than welcome to head on out after we do the poll questions. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll meet up again on Monday.